walking down Bay Street, waiting to meet someone who would make my day. I've been getting older, but I still take my time when it comes to meeting a man with a five. Maybe someone.
This picture is interesting to me because it shows how I felt when I was sick and before I was diagnosed. It reminds me of neglect, abandonment, experiences of isolation, confusion, and disarray.
This picture was taken from the back of a bus. Moments ago there was a stream of cars, now there is none. This is what it is like for me when I'm suffering from a hallucination. My fears and hallucinations there 1 minute and gone the next.
After being diagnosed with a mental illness, people have treated me differently. Sometimes people only see my illness and treat me like a small child. I'm made to feel so small that I lose confidence in myself. I feel as if I'm on the ground floor of this building, and it is impossible for my voice to be heard by people on the top floor. I wish that there was more training for people who are in jobs where they will be dealing with people who have a mental illness.
I call this one masks because it's better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody. You don't have to be disfigured to feel the need to hide. Masks allow us to stand up for ourselves and for our rights while still hiding our vulnerabilities. But if you never take off the mask, or if you have a whole wardrobe of different masks for different occasions, you can become confused about who you really are. It can be hard to take off the mask, but that's vital to breaking down the myths and misconceptions that surround personality and identity disorders. People who have no personal or family experience of mental illness will probably understand the mask analogy because it's human nature to present a multiplicity of different characters in our very complex lives.
The day I took this picture, I felt that it represented me. I felt broken and bent all in different directions. I had a use at one time, and now I'm broken. Living with a mental illness is difficult at times. I tire easy, and sometimes I'm hypersensitive to the world around me. I need silence, both inside and out. I feel I'm being judged, and I feel that some see me as weak, useless, and vulnerable at times of high stress. Some days I feel old, used, and thrown away.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. My shadow is dark, it does not live, and it is like my depression, empty, barren of spirit, barren of hope. I am empty. Nothing matters. I wish only to go back into her, to be part of her living body, to be part of something that doesn't hurt so much, to be cradled in her loving arms, to be loved and accepted by her wholly, to have no sword past. She does not judge. She takes us all back eventually. Mother Earth.
When my depression is at its worst, I feel like the seagull in this picture, a tiny insignificant speck surrounded by gray. I feel like nobody understands. And truthfully, during this time, I don't know why I feel this way. The only thing that can help is having people accept me as I am, where I am, and just being there until the darkness passes. This kind of understanding and patience only comes through people being educated about mental illness.
Yet another picture promoting the use of drugs as a way to gain happiness. It seems everywhere I go, everybody in the downtown core promotes, condones, and uses some type of drug, another barrier. It reminds me of when I started using drugs and alcohol. I was a kid when I started. When I was depressed, I often reached for a bottle to escape my problems. But now, I can learn to cope with my support network in place, and thanks to self-education. Throughout this parkland there is so much beauty, but go deeper in the bushes and the parts you don't see tell a different story, one in contrast to the beauty surrounding it. This place is where people who are easily forgotten about drink anything from hairspray to mouthwash. A lot of the people who drink here are native, homeless, and living with mental illness and addictions. They see no way out. Many come from broken homes and have been homeless for nearly all of their lives. They are usually the institutionalized people who only know the inside of jails, hospitals, shelter house, and squatting. For these people, it is the only way that they know. They self-medicate to ease the pain of the harsh reality they face day to day.
In this picture, you can enjoy the beauty, but only from afar. The gates are closed and locked. It reminds me of the dreams I used to have before being diagnosed. After living with depression for 16 years, I realize I can still dream, but may have to go about making some of those dreams come true in a different way. For some, their dreams are lost, turned into resentments or anger. Barriers that people living with mental illness face daily are poverty, inadequate housing, injustice, stigma, and discrimination. This often keeps those with mental health issues locked out. Offering hope is the key.
I see here attentive soldiers in dress uniforms standing alone beyond enemy lines, awaiting instructions from their colonel in command. In my recovery, this symbolizes to me my day-to-day struggle of residing in a negative environment where I'm being bullied and labeled. By keeping a stiff upper lip and putting on a brave front, I'm keeping my head above water and not succumbing to it.
People often judge me as being a negative person, only seeing the cup as half empty. I am told that I should just tighten my bootstraps and snap out of it. What they don't realize is that my cup is filled with dirt and debris, not clear water like theirs. Until I filter out all the impurities through counseling, medication, understanding, hard work, and patience, I will continue to see things through murky water. People need to be educated about what mental illness is, and hopefully this will take away the stigma that is felt by people dealing with their illness.
This is a picture of an old building. It looks like a rough place. There's a sign "Stop" on the door. I've been on the street in dangerous situations, and I'm lucky not to have been hurt. I think if anybody stops and makes changes in their life, they'll do all right.
I paint these rocks through visions I have when I am in a manic state. This picture is mystical, and so am I. I live in two worlds, and maybe that's why I get so confused and sick. I can't truly be myself. If I spoke my truth, I would offend people. I always have to act like I don't get hurt, and that I don't know that I'm being used. I have to live with so many lies, and then comes the overwhelming rage. I start to assert myself, and I am caged like an animal. They call it grandiose behavior. I sit in the hospital until the anger passes, and they feel safe.
I've always appreciated older vehicles, especially if they're in good condition. Every time I see one, it catches my eye. It reminds me of when I was a child. In its time, it was just a regular truck, but through restoration, it is now a classic. Just because something's old and out of date doesn't mean it isn't functioning. Even something old can become new again, as is the case with my recovery.
This picture symbolizes life to me, constantly changing and morphing, being part of a continuing cycle. The river moves free, as do I in my recovery. It is peaceful, strong, and soothing, comforting and tranquil. Sometimes it can be rushing and wild like a manic episode. Other times it can be little more than a trickle, like a depressive episode. But when I'm stable, I'm like this beautiful, bubbling brook.
I know who I am. I know when I am tired. I need to stop and listen to my inner voice. I know I can use my sage to cleanse my body and purify my thoughts. I'm a person who believes people are people. Like the blanket my friends are, all different colors. I respect them and they respect me. Sometimes I get the impression others don't approve. I should be with my own people. Other times my own people reject me, and I wonder if I am a sellout. That is when I need to use my sage and remember that we are all the Creator's children.
When I was first diagnosed, I felt exposed to the world. I lost my self-esteem, all my energy, my job, my house. But yet deep down I felt hope that things would improve. Even though I stood tall like this tree, I was feeling small, exposed, and surrounded by garbage that I needed to let go. I had the consistent fear that at any time someone or something would cut my roots and I would fall. Now, this tree symbolizes my recovery. Even though my roots have been exposed, I am still going strong. Having supportive friends and family, a supportive doctor who respects that I want to take control of my life, gives me the determination that keeps me going.
Early on in my recovery, I was given a list of places that I could go to for support. The problem was that I did not know what to expect, so I could not force myself to open the door, even though the key was right there. I was lucky enough to have a social worker come with me and take away the fear of the unknown.
It seems to me that sometimes people feel that we are limited. It is one thing to limit yourself. It's quite another to be limited by others. I started telling people I was thinking of working again 3 years before actually starting to work. I made up my mind on my birthday in 2005 to phone agencies about working. You know what? I started work in October 2005. To me, that is an important bridge to my recovery. Recovery is different for every individual. I can relate to this because of having felt depressed about not working. I'd like to live the full life I'm entitled to.
Here resides a longtime friend of mine, 85 years, who shares with me innumerable memories of days past. These times are special to me. We often amuse ourselves with an assortment of games, a movie, or just a nice chat. She is a caring mom of many, and throughout the day friends and family drop in for tea and may even play a game or two. For my recovery, this is a nurturing relationship that enhances my peace of mind. When we are together, I feel uninhibited. The laughter I experience brings to me harmony and a sense of freedom.
This is the Brodie Street Library where I work. The picture was taken on a summer evening after everyone had left. To me, this is a very peaceful place. The chair before the window is very inviting, and it gives me a good feeling. It is simple and orderly. It is a perfect moment of stillness and peacefulness. This photo was taken at sunrise. I thought this tree would be destroyed in the name of progress. Lo and behold, several days later the tree was still standing. This gave me hope for humanity. This gave me hope for myself. It gave me a sense of optimism in the general scheme of things.
These roots are like human lives that have been uprooted by mental illness and tossed away by a society that views people with mental disorders as undesirable and useless. In the face of continuing superstition and fear, people with mental health issues are still being dug up and sent off to be somebody else's problem. Education, person-centered planning, and a focus on recovery can help build a future where people with mental illnesses are embraced, supported, and empowered to grow and mature within their natural social networks.
I see here a pillar of strength, standing tall with the utmost confidence, showing no intimidation whatsoever. This represents to me and my recovery just how far I have come in my life. As it is now, I don't feel isolated anymore or insignificant. I too have strength of character, as does this pillar.
Like church windows, these panes in my own house, created with a decorative film, calm me and uplift me. When I look out through my windows at the colors that seem to dance around borders of darkness, it's like looking at hope from the depths of gloom. It reflects to me the process of recovery where one is emerging from psychic shadows into the light.
I spent many hours at this spot throughout the years meditating, trying to figure out how this illness was affecting me. I reflected on how I saw myself and how others started to treat me differently. Here I found my sanctuary and drew on the strength I got from being here. At times, it was the only place I felt accepted. This picture represents a long journey which included some very difficult times. Getting past barriers was difficult, but I gained strength. I believed that I could recover, and having that hope kept me going. I came to terms that my life would not be as it was prior to diagnosis, and that only I can make my recovery a reality.